Good morning, students. The topic that I'm going to cover today is related with camera, and we know that in single lens camera, digital single lens camera, there are three main control which we generally discuss in the classroom. So the today's lecture is about the use of those three very important elements of a digital single lens camera. The first and very important is aperture. The second one is shutter, and third one is zoom. So in professional camera we generally see that there is three rings given to control aperture, shutter and zoom. Aperture is basically the amount of light which enters inside the camera through lens, and shutter speed is the duration for which light is basically exposed. A film is exposed. So the aperture allows the amount of light. It's very important for you to know that aperture controls amount of light, and shutter speed is basically to control duration of light. And the combination of aperture and shutter give us sharp image. We all know that the white light contains several colors, and when we use aperture and shutter, we basically control the light which is entering inside the camera and controlling the duration of the light. The aperture, when the value of aperture or numerical value of aperture is say less 2.8, it simply means that the more light is entering inside the camera. And if the aperture is say numerically high, 11, 22, we call it a f-stop, then the amount of light entering inside the camera is less. So there is a relationship. If the aperture is numerically low, more amount of light will enter inside the camera. If the aperture value is numerically high, less amount of light will enter in the camera. Similarly, when you are say have the aperture value 4, so what should be the right shutter speed? This question is generally asked by the students. So we know that shutter also controls the duration of light. If you have allowed more light to come inside the camera, then it is better to keep shutter speed fast so that appropriate light is entering and you are getting a correct exposure. If more light enters inside the camera and you keep that light for say a longer period, so say a shutter is 1/10, 1/25, then there is a possibility that the image will be overexposed. And if you are allowing less light, and the duration of the exposure is also less, then there is a possibility that the image will be underexposed. So what we need is correct exposure. So correct exposure is combination of aperture and shutter. Sometimes we wonder as a photographer that when there is a movement and you have to decide that what should be the shutter speed. So there are many theories behind it, but many theories are basically given in relation to the shutter speed, but it depends upon the meaning which you want to construct. A fast moving object and slow shutter speed will also give you an image, but you need to use it creatively. A fast, somebody say 100-meter race and you want a clear picture, then you need fast shutter speed. But if you want to show distance in the frame or depth in the frame, then you can use low shutter speed for creating it. So it all depends upon the meaning which you want to construct. What should be the right focus, aperture, shutter? It all depends upon the vision of the photographer, what he is actually willing to keep in a frame. Similarly, zoom is actually used for giving different viewing angle to the audience, and we all know that we can click a photograph, say extreme close shot of an object and extreme long shot of an object. When you are clicking extreme close shot of an object, the relationship between the environment and the object is minimal. The object is dominating the frame and you cannot see the surrounding or the environment. But in extreme long shot, if you are standing, say at a railway station, Charbagh station, and someone has clicked your shot, in that particular extreme long shot, environment is dominating. Environment simply means that Charbagh, the building of Charbagh station is dominating rather than object. Simply means that you are standing there but you are not identifiable. So extreme long shot is basically used to give you a sense of location. And if you want to establish that you are standing at, say, Charbagh railway station, then you can use other shots also, like long shot, mid-long shot, where the relationship with the environment is now balanced and the object and the environment has a cordial relationship where object is also visible as well as the location or the environment is also playing its role. Zoom so camera, like we all know, that is extension of human eyes, and most of the inventions that we see today helping human being is extension of all our senses. Camera is also one of them, which is extension of our eyes. Our eyes can identify or adapt to the white light, but camera cannot. That's why in camera we have different, controls for giving us correct exposure as well as correct color. White light not only has many colors, but also it contains temperature. That's why the morning sun or the evening sun we see yellowish red. So the yellow color or reddish color of white light is basically 1200 K to 1700 K Kelvin. Similarly, if the temperature is 3200 K, it simply means that tungsten. 5200 K is blue light, symbol of blue light. And for that, you need to tell your camera that what is white light. Rather, teach your camera what is white light. Human eyes, we can very easily, adjust to the light entering inside, our eyes, or we can adjust to the increase or decrease of light, but camera cannot. So every time when you are increasing the temperature or decreasing it, see that you are white balancing the camera also. Otherwise, if the camera is not properly balanced, white balance, the image that you will get will not reflect real color, true color. And for that, in professional cameras, we generally have presets where you can, manually white balance the camera, or you can use preset to just simply push the preset buttons, which is indicated or given in professional cameras. You can keep your camera on 3200K or 5200K. But the possibility is, if you keep your camera 3200K and the temperature is, say, more than that, then there is a possibility that the output is not as real as you are willing to. So my advice to the professional photographers that manual white balancing is very important. So students, now I hope that you understand that in camera, shutter speed, aperture, zoom controls, white balance, light temperature, very important integral part of photography. And if you want to click a good photograph, you need to know the basics of all these controls. Otherwise, if any of these are not properly controlled, then there is every possibility that you'll have a underexposed or overexposed image. So we'll talk about the other controls of camera in next class. For this class, if there is any question, you can ask in Google Classroom. Thank you.